So many swing faults stem from a bad takeaway position. Today, I'm going to share with you how that lead hand's going to feel like it's moving down as the trail hand's going to move up, and it's really going to cure your inside takeaway for good. Make sure you check out this video. So I have for you a very quick, simple tip to stop this inside takeaway for good. It ruins so many golf swings. So many faults are coming from this movement. When the club gets behind you here, the shoulders tend to be working too flat. The club gets inside. When the club gets inside, it gets open. The player almost completes their shoulder turn very early. What do we tend to see from there? A real lifting to the top. Often, because they've gone flat or too much around their body in the backswing, they do the opposite in the downswing. So we often see the steepening movement. There's so many faults come from this first movement, and it's really not that hard to get rid of. We're going to feel like our lead hand works more down as our trail hand works more up. Because what I see when players get this inside fault here, as I said, is their shoulders are very level, the forearms are very level. I want you to try and feel like that club is working up a lot sooner. And the sensation, as I said here, is going to be lead hand down, trail hand up. So start by just splitting your hands. So put your trail hand down on the club shaft itself and just try and get the feeling of lead hand down. You can see that starts to get my lead shoulder, my left shoulder working down underneath my chin, as it should do. Our lead shoulder needs to lose 4 inches of height in the backswing for us to maintain that spine angle. Too many golfers are moving this across, not down. So lead shoulder down, it feels like my lead hand goes down. You can see that starts to get the club shaft cocking more up in the air. So lead hand down, I'm going to feel like my trail hand works more up. So it's this sensation in the backswing. Now the only thing we've got to be aware of is when our lead hand's working down, our trail hand's working up. What I don't want to see is too much cupping here in the lead wrist. So we'd still like to see that lead wrist relatively flat and neutral, so it's the same angle as my lead arm. We're not trying to get those knuckles too far forward. So it's the only word of warning. That's the only thing we have to be aware of. Now I like this exercise, so I want you to grab a couple of alignment sticks. But what we're going to try and get the sensation of again is left hand down, right hand up. And what you'd see is both these sticks are pointing up in the air, okay? I'm not creating a 90-degree at that angle, but I'm definitely creating an angle here. I'm not here at sort of 180. I'm definitely getting that club, or in this case, the stick up in the air. And you can see my right hand, my trail hand, is a lot higher than my left hand. When golfers go wrong and they get this inside takeaway, we see the shoulders working very flat. We see my bag's in the way a little bit there. We see these tall sticks would be too level. Okay, so we're trying to get the tall sticks up in the air, and I want my trail hand higher than my lead hand. So lead hand down, trail hand up. And that's really going to start to, as I said, get my cocking, and you can see I've still managed to maintain there a very neutral lead wrist. I'm not getting my knuckles working forward. So that's the only thing we've just got to be aware of when we're trying to get that club more up. So we're creating more wrist cock and we're creating more tilt in our shoulders, because golfers who get the club working in, they're very flat with their shoulders. They create a lot of early turn, and they're either going to stop there and have a very short backswing. 9 times out of 10 though, they lift up to the top of the golf swing. So let's try and put that into a feel. You may even just do it lead hand only just to start with, but try and get that feeling of lead hand down, club head up, okay? Now, support that weight with the trail hand as well. Now it's a lot easier, and I've still got my pretty flat neutral wrist. So that club more up in the air. Okay, let me feel that. I might actually just, why not as a drill, let's stop here. and turn and hit. So we're actually hitting some from that new movement before we build it in. Now, if this is something you need to work on, I would recommend before you actually hit shots, you rehearse this movement once or twice. So you'd be set up to the golf ball, you rehearse this feel, maybe just check, and you can see clearly that club is a lot more up. It hasn't gone as far behind me. So rehearse it twice and then go ahead. Left that one a little right, I think. But really got that sensation, the club working more up in the air. Just felt like I didn't really hit it and rotate hard enough. I'm a little stiff from the gym is my excuse here. So these shots are hurting, however you know. So left shoulder down as that right shoulder goes up. Same with the hands, left hand down, right hand up. So that's the sensation that we're trying to create. Now you're going to say, what about the driver? Because I'm demonstrating this with an iron, so I'm going to quickly touch on it. This movement is especially important with the irons because we'd like to see a slightly earlier wrist cock is something we see with the majority of really good iron players. Now it is true that when you get a driver, we would like that movement to be a little bit wider. The wrist cock may happen a touch later. But if you are someone who's suffering with that inside takeaway, you really need to try and feel that same movement. Left hand down, right hand up. Try and get that club shaft working more vertical. Now, because the club is longer, the ball's up in the air on a tee peg, the likelihood is we're going to make a slightly wider movement even as we're trying to feel that. So I've still got a touch more width and a slightly later wrist cock. Okay, I haven't cocked quite as much as I did with the iron, but I'm still getting that same sensation. Left hand down, right hand up. As I said, especially if you're someone who suffers with this inside fault. It's really important to get that club on plane in the backswing, not getting that club too far stuck behind you. So, left hand down, right hand up. Let's see if I can hit a straighter one than that last one. That felt good. That's going to catch sort of right half of the green there. But again, great sensation, really felt like I struck it. I'd look back on video and try and have a gauge on where that club is, but really focusing on that first movement. Any phone that you've got is going to be good enough on slow-mo to see where the club is in the backswing. The club on the downswing is going to be a bit of a blur, but it's going to be good enough to see that backswing movement. So start to see where the club is. There's a rough checkpoint at halfway back. I'd like the hands in about the center of my chest, and I'd like the club shaft through the middle of my trail bicep. The end of the grip here would point somewhere towards the ball to target line. Okay, so it's behind the golf ball, but somewhere near that ball to target line. If that club gets too low, this grip would point way out here. You can see this is more through my trail arm. My hands might even be towards the right side of my chest. So we're trying to work that club a little bit more up. And it may be for you that you don't like thinking about the hands. Well, okay, think about the shoulders. Left shoulder down, right shoulder up, okay? If I can get that same movement of what my torso's doing, guess what? My hands are gonna actually follow suit here. So there's more than one way of thinking about it. If that video has helped, make sure you hit the thumbs up, share it with as many golfers as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content just like this. Right now, YouTube is suggesting the next video of mine that's relevant for you. The link's just here, so click on it and check it out.